On our first day, we visited NC3, Nagoya Christian Cell Church. We were planning on prepping lunch for them today, so we got up pretty early, did some early prep work, attended the service. The service started around 10:30, lasted until 11:30 to 12. Once it ended, we got out. We did more of the prep work and cooked the food and prepared the lunches for the members of the church. Thank God, everyone loved it. The taco rice was a success. It was very intimate. The fellowship was very sweet. And I got to know a lot of the members and for the first time meet a lot of Japanese Christians. I also got to meet the pastor, Ken and his wife, Ayako. But it was really cool hearing their testimony and their story and how they all came about hearing the gospel through CBI and then being trained as seminary students and then going out into the local communities. And then shortly after, we visited All Nations Fellowship Church. Overall, it was a packed schedule. It was filled just with a lot of encouragements. We got to meet a lot of faithful Christians and how they were just really living out their faith here day to day.
Today is day 2 of our missions trip to Japan. Being a missionary in Japan is very difficult, and there's just a lot of tasks and responsibilities that they need to do on the day-to-day outside of ministry. And so we helped clean up the cafe and with other small tasks around the building. But even as small as they may be, we really just want to be a blessing to them and help with as much as we can to just show them our love and to just help them know and be comforted that they have brothers and sisters around the world that love them and support them and are here with them. After all of our hard work and prep, we finally had our first day of English baby camp. And so we modeled it after our Sunday school at BMC. And so it starts with music. We had 2 just songs in English to help kick it off, and then we had 2 worship songs. Then we moved into a lesson that Cheryl taught on creation, and we then had snack time with ESL words that reinforced both the lesson itself and also the English language. We had a time for games, which again reinforced the lesson of creation and just sharing who God is to the mothers and children that were able to attend.
Today is day 3. Today we went to the seminary and we had bento lunches with the seminary students, and we got to hear how they came to CBI and what their walk was like before they came to the seminary. The highlight was to be able to hear the testimony of one of the seminary students named Teru, and he is actually a full-time pastor, and he travels 5 hours round trip every day to go to CBI and be better equipped as a pastor so that he can better serve his church. That was really encouraging to us as a team. Today's lesson was about Adam and Eve and the introduction of sin into the world. Rayson taught about how Adam and Eve disobeyed God's rule to not eat from the tree. And the kids were very energetic and they participated in all of the activities that we had. And yeah, it was really great. The moms stayed way later than what we expected because there was a typhoon warning that was given before the camp was about to start. And so we were initially thinking that mothers weren't going to bring their children out to Baby English today, but it ended up being pretty successful. And when the mothers stayed later, the kids had so much fun and they were just playing and really comfortable with us teachers. And we could really see that the mothers were really happy that their kids were happy. And so yeah, we just pray that even while seeing their kids happy in a worldly sense, that hopefully later on that they would be able to come to know Christ and be joyful because of the gospel.
Today is day 4 of our trip, and we had 3 main events today. The first event was a morning prayer walk through the city led by one of the long-term missionaries here named Brett. He brought us to various parts of the city, such as the temples and the shrines, the city cultural center where a lot of the salarymen, the working professionals work at, as well as the Nagoya train station, which is one of the most populated places in the country. And in each of the locations we had prayed for the people of Japan and the idols that they worship, whether that be the temples and the shrines or materialism or their careers. And one big takeaway I got from Brett was that he told us that despite all these idols that we see on the surface, the greatest idol that Japanese people worship is their desire to conform and be Japanese. And what that looks like is that to be Japanese is to be Shinto or Buddhist. Even if you don't really truly believe in Shintoism or Buddhism, many Japanese people just say that or choose to believe in it anyways because that's what it means to be Japanese. And the same goes for just buying into materialism and believing that it will buy you happiness or spending your whole life trying to climb up the corporate ladder. The second event that we did today was our baby English camp. We are in the 3rd day of our baby English camp, and today we taught about the story of Abraham and God's faithfulness and how true he is to his promises. Everything went really, really well, and we've been able to build deeper relationships with the moms that have been attending all week. And the kids are having a great time too, which we're really glad. The third event for today, we had dinner with 2 of Matt's friends that he had met back in his ministry when he lived in Nagoya in 2012. These were college students when Matt first met them 5 years ago. So now they've since graduated and they're now official Japanese salarymen. And what's really cool about this experience was that we were just praying for the Japanese salarymen in the morning, a prayer walk, and being able to have dinner with 2 of these Japanese salarymen tonight was just really encouraging to have that opportunity because they're the hardest population to reach in Japan because they're just so busy working all the time. Even though both of them aren't believers as of today, we're really hoping that these friendships that we've been able to maintain with them and just hopefully their continued exposure and friendships with the Christian community here in Nagoya would bring them to faith one day.
So today is day 5, and we started out by hearing a testimony from a lady named Akiko. Her testimony was just one that really impacted all of us because of her faithfulness and because of just the struggles that she had to go through. She was a person who came up from a very traditional Japanese background, and just the pressures, the familial pressures that she had to go through were, tremendous. One that, she really was able to express to us, and one that we really felt for her. So we were all really, really encouraged by her faithfulness, and I look forward to just keeping in touch with her and hearing more about how her ministry will evolve. So today is also the last day of Baby English, and it was definitely a bittersweet experience because we were so happy to see actually there was about 11 or 12 moms that came out, and all but one of them were repeat participants. So familiar faces and familiar children we were very, very happy to see, and it seemed like they were really enjoying what we had to offer to them, and so we really pray and hope that they will continue to come out to Baby English. This lesson was about Joseph today, not an easy lesson to teach toddlers, but we hope their moms got the gist of it, and that's definitely sowing seeds. After the Baby English, after we cleaned up, we actually took the missionaries and the staff out to dinner. There's almost 30 people, and the 8 of us spread ourselves out amongst them and had conversations with all of them. From what I gathered, everybody had a meaningful, refreshing, and convicting conversations. And we were all greatly encouraged by each of them, and hopefully we were encouraging to them in kind.
Hey Church, I just wanted to share specific ways that you could be praying for Japan and the missions that is being done there. The first thing is just for people to be sent, for whether that's from our team or from other churches around the States. What it says in Scripture where the workers are few but the harvest is plentiful is really true in Japan. Really be praying for the teams that have been sent so far and the future teams that BMC will send, so that we can fulfill this need for workers in Japan. I want to give some final encouragements to the church and just what I've seen in the past 2 years as we sent 2 teams now to Christ Bible Institute. We really have seen how God has been moving in Japan, and that He is really doing a great work through the missionaries and even our teams, even despite the short time that we are there. So I'm personally really excited to see how God continues to move through programs like Baby English and English Cafe Night, and just meeting the hunger for the gospel there. So really continue to lift up not just our teams, but the missionaries there on the field, and that the gospel would continue to grow and spread throughout Japan.
Not only did Jesus find a privation among the people, not only did He feel compassion, not only did He see a potential harvest, He commanded us to pray. The harvest is plentiful, but the workers are few. Therefore, pray, pray, pray to the Lord of the harvest that He send out workers.